What's this shit
Right.
called again?
Right.
No, I mean I know, but I'm saying like, what's this? Hello, everybody. Sorry. The fuck is the episode called? What did we say? Recap. Ignore everything you just heard, by the way. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to another episode of the Trust Tree. It's the last Tuesday of the month. So September is Suicide Prevention Month. So again, I'm going to give out that information because it's amazingly important. You can call or text 988. You can also chat with 988 Lifeline. It's 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, sorry. But the chat is 988lifeline.org. Again, if you are a person that's in crisis or you feel like you're kind of near there, you're feeling hopeless and things of that nature, you can definitely utilize those resources. You can always Google from your cell phone mental health services, and then local things will come up. But the national information would be with 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. So people out there, if you have loved ones or just people in general that you're concerned about, you can always, reach out on their behalf as well and, intervene. There's levels to it, of course, but if you need help, you need help. So again, call or text 988, or you can chat 988lifeline.org. And this is, again, for 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Please, if you need it, take advantage, because the world is definitely a better place with you in it, bottom line.
Nice.
This episode we will focus on basically a recap and what we've done thus far and kind of where we are in life, because life's, we are a good ways through the year, and we're about to hop into the holiday season. It's officially fall. Summertime is over. I was over it because the heat was heating and I can't do it. But yeah, it's about that time where we go from just kind of, we got winter and spring and summer and all that's fun, but now we get to the holiday season, and this when things seem to get a little bit heavy and they seem to get a little bit real. So it's kind of like a check-in, if you will. Also, the actual check-in on Sunday, we had a lot of technical difficulties, so we weren't able to, do that show. So
we had a slight hiccup.
Yeah, so it's like a mashup, if you will. So we are going to check in with the Trust Tree. How about that?
Sounds
check
good.
in with the Trust Tree. I like that.
Yeah, check in with the Trust Tree. So we were talking about, we were attempting to talk about self-love. And I think a lot of people think about self-care, and the first thing they think about is like spa type situations and drinking beverages out of cute cups and putting the cold packs under your eyes and all that kind of stuff, and that's necessary, if that's what you need, if that's what kind of scratches your itch or tweaks your tits, whatever you want to say. But self-love is a very different thing, and it's something that people probably neglect, because most people that are adults have responsibilities and things that they need to prioritize, and everybody looks at every single thing else as a bigger priority than themselves,
and struggle with it too.
Yes. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I cannot buy things for myself. I literally will think about whatever it was that I bought for myself and just be like, okay, if I didn't buy this, I could have did X, Y, and Z. Like I absolutely feel horrible for it. And it's honestly, it's no matter how small it is. Like no matter how small, no matter, it's just the same thing for me. And I really feel like people around me are very important to me. I want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to be comfortable, and that's my priority. Like it's been like very recent that I've just really been like, okay, I need to take time from myself this isn't all the time. It's just when I know I need it. Like when I'm about to crack, then that's when I'll like pay attention to that. And it's something that I'm actively working on. So again, this is a trust tree where we're healing in real time. So don't judge me, judge your mama. What about you, Swipe God? What do you think about like taking time out for yourself or
I feel like, in the words of Common, the greatest love felt is the one you have for self. So you got to love yourself and take care of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. All of it matters.
Yeah, but sometimes that's an easier said than done type of thing. I think a
Yeah.
lot of us struggle with that because of, not to bring up like childhood trauma or anything, but there's a lot of things that factor into a person understanding what self-love is, or giving themselves grace, or even more so understanding self. Because when you start to understand yourself, then I think you can begin to begin to start loving yourself. Once you understand like certain things, where certain things come from, why you behave a certain way, why you act a certain way when certain things happen. Just like talking about earlier today when I was talking just about me and the older version of me as opposed to the newer version of me, and I struggle with that. The older version of me wasn't very happy with himself and didn't like himself. The newer version loves himself, but he still struggles with the old version.
Mm.
And still struggles with the hate, the self-hate, the insecurities, and things like that. And it's a real struggle. And trying to figure out, not trying, but figuring out where those things come from and why they affect like myself, like why they affect me a certain way. It's really difficult at times to try to climb out of that.
Mhm.
If that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I'd seen something earlier that says feel what you need to, then let it go. Like don't let it like take over you. You know, um, that is something that I really am working on because like somebody will. I think a lot of it has to do with me being super passive aggressive, and I've always been this way. It comes kind of from like me not. I just like I'll shut down. I don't want to be bothered. And then I also have this thing where like I'll keep dealing with your foolery. I'll just keep dealing with you. I'll just keep whatever. It's always a perspective for me. Well, they do this because I make all the excuses in the world for the bad behavior. And then finally, when I've had enough, I'm just zero dark 30. Because I feel like you knew what you were doing. The entire time you knew what you was doing.
But does a person?
That's what I'm getting to.
Yeah.
And,
Does a
and that's
person really know what they're doing? Um, from my own experience, like I would do things in the past. I may have known what I was doing, but I never like. It's one thing like I'll say like saying like I don't give a fuck, right? And really tricking yourself into believing that you just don't give a fuck when you actually do.
yeah.
And then you do the shit and you're completely unaware of, you're in the moment, you know you're fucking up, but there's other things that go on in your head to help you not even pay attention to that shit. These are like learned behaviors, learned things from, your childhood. I mean, it's just a fact. And I think a lot of that, like when we take that and we talk about self-love, those are the same type of things that block and stop you. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm sitting there and I tell myself, like sometimes I have to verbalize it out loud to myself. And I've been alone and I'm thinking something and I say it out loud to myself, like, you're not a piece of shit. You're not a bad person. And I say it out loud because for me, I have to hear it. Not like from somebody. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I have to hear it, me say it to me, because those other voices are that goddamn loud in my head. You know what I mean? And I don't particularly know exactly where a lot of that stems from. I do and I don't. But I'm working on it. You know what I'm saying? Working on it every day. And I think that people, when they want, because I think everybody wants to love themselves. But I also think everybody lies of, oh, I love myself, and you can't tell me nothing. You know what I mean? But truthfully, I think we all struggle with self love and self care.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mentally and physically. You know what I mean? I even on my journey of not drinking, I woke up one morning and I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, man, I look like shit. But part of the reason I looked like shit because I also felt like shit. There was a lot of other things going on. And so I was like, man, I need to clean up my act. So I clean up and everything. And I felt a little bit better. But instead of taking that and building on that, the other voice says, yeah, you didn't do shit, put lipstick on a pig. You know what I mean? That's it. And so now, even though I'm cleaned up and I'm feeling a little bit better, the other voice is still stomping me down. Like, you ain't shit, you ain't gonna be shit. You ain't never did shit, you know, just fucked up things. And you're like, and then I personally, then you say to yourself, but I am a good person and I do love me. Like, what the fuck? But it's a struggle to fight that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, yes, that, all that is.
That was a lot.
I mean, because maybe one can't articulate that, right? We don't know what that is inside of us that makes us that way. But like, yes, like I've always been my biggest critic. And I think I spend so much energy on cussing me out that I don't have time to fucking chastise you for some shit. You know what I'm saying?
But ain't that self-love though? When you criticize yourself?
I think it looks different based on what you need it to look like. But I will say this though. It's one thing for me to like hold myself accountable for my actions, but it's another thing for me to like, so I'll say, okay, I know I'm supposed to do X, Y, and Z, right? And I did it wrong. So I'm gonna really like beat myself up about that. So it doesn't matter to me what you might say, not you specifically, but I'm just saying you as in any other person, because I'm hard on me regardless. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes time for, let's say I fuck something up at work, when it comes time for maybe my manager to J down on me for whatever I did wrong, I don't even want to hear that shit. Because I know, you know what I'm saying? And I have no control over my attitude and the way I am. I've been doing this shit like I even had a manager tell me one time, I know you don't want to hear this, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. You know what I'm saying? And I can already see like your eyes are glazed. You're not even listening to what I'm saying to you, but you need to hear it. And I'm like, I appreciate you seeing me. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I'm working on that about myself, but I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Because ultimately, I answer to me. You feel me? So like when back to what I was saying about like, feeling how you feel about something and then let it go and don't let it consume you. Like I'm working on that because like certain shit really fucking bugs me, especially if it's like if I like reach for somebody all the time or I do whatever the fuck I need to do to to make this person comfortable, or you know what I'm saying. I just always drop all my shit to like I got you, but then that person doesn't reciprocate. Like that shit gonna be on me for a while.
Does it feel like they don't care about you? Or they don't actually see you or see the things that you do.
Yeah,
are you looking for validation?
It's not really validation. I don't know if you remember, but the last time we interviewed Phenom, we had about a 15-minute conversation about this because Phenom was feeling some type of way because of the same shit, and I was just like, "Fuck, I have the same problem." So it's like we do everything for everybody. Just that's what we do. But then when it's not reciprocated, low key, super fucking pissed about that. And then we kind of take it up. Yeah. And we kind of take it apart and we sit there and just like, why they, you know what I'm saying? Like, why they, you know what I'm saying, fucking with me? Like, what I do? Do they not fuck with me? Am I doing too? It becomes the whole thing. Then you kind of go down this rabbit hole of maybe I am a piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, you know what I'm saying, I don't deserve this. Blah, 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 blah. And then it's like, okay, where the fuck did that come from? But like, why would you do it for that person if you need them to give it back to you? Like you should just do it.
Yeah.
Like you're
Without any strings attached.
Right. So like it's called altruism, where
Mhm.
you just do shit because it's the right thing to do.
Right.
And out of the kindness of your heart, truthfully, and nothing else. I did it because I wanted to do it for you. Big ass period.
But that's a hard thing for a lot of other people to take in.
Yes.
That's a hard thing for some people to take in, the fact that you doing something and you genuinely don't have anything, you're not asking anything of it, you're not wanting anything in return. That's a tough one. But that's also too, if we're talking, I don't mean to cut you, but that's also too with people, other people as well. If two people are struggling with being insecure and not loving themselves, imagine how that sounds to them, or what it looks like. You're doing shit for them and they're struggling with who they are and they don't deserve it. You've got to be up to something.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
There's no way they could do this for me. I don't deserve this shit.
As he would say, who sent you?
Yeah, who sent you? Right. Right. Let me ask you both a question. What does giving yourself grace look like to you?
You wanna go first?
No, you go first.
Time, space, or like whatever the situation calls for. Like I've noticed about myself, like sometimes I get spent, and like I could just be annoyed with just literally other people's voices, or I've had to read a bunch of stuff and decipher through a bunch of things, in my 9 to 5, and in my personal life. I got a lot of other, stuff I had to do. And sometimes I want quiet and still. You know what I'm saying? So like for me, grace is whatever that looks like. When I get to a point where I'm like, oh, I can't do it. I just can't take any more. Whatever that is, it's the opposite of that. You know what I'm saying? So that might just be, all right, you know what? Take a beat and don't do nothing else. You know what I'm saying? Sit there, watch a TV show. Or it might be, call somebody that isn't going to ask you for anything. Y'all just talking about nothing, something that doesn't matter. Y'all just making each other laugh. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. To me, it's grace is giving myself the space to just exist and be okay, and not be required to do anything.
But
just right in the head.
But in that, when you, let's say you, because every morning I give myself some space. I sit down outside, I just sit there, and I try not to do. I try, literally. I don't like using that word, but I literally try not to do anything except for sip my coffee, smoke a cigar, and
just be.
Tell my brain to shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Just shut the fuck up, brain, and just be. But even when doing that, it's really difficult to stop the nagging voice that even says you don't even deserve this. You know what I'm saying? How do you in your journey, how do you see that you have combated that? Because you say you give yourself grace.
So
but do you really give yourself grace?
I do. And and some days are easier than others. Like today was not. But like one thing, and this helps for people that like struggle with like anxiety. So most people, like if you're trying to learn how to meditate, right? You're supposed to let thoughts just kind of go past. You don't catch any of them. You just let them go. So, those nights where you can't sleep, where your mind is racing. So like a lot of people say in their experience, the more they try to quiet the mind, the worse it gets, the louder it is, right? So like that's what anxiety is in its simplest form. It's just like you're running on a treadmill and somebody's running on side of you, just yelling shit at you. You know what I'm saying? All of those negative bad things that you said, right? So like for me, I'm saying, hey, is it real, or is it that bullshit? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Is this a real situation? Is this really something that should have you kind of like the world is weighing on you? Because it's like literally like being on a treadmill and somebody's pulling your collar back the other way and telling you you're not running fast enough that way. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the easiest way to pull the person's to get the person to stop pulling you is to take the shirt off. So I always say, is it real? You know what I'm saying? Like if the thoughts that come to me are telling me, oh, you know what, you're not even smart enough to do all the stuff that you're doing, so you might as well just stop. But am I really stupid?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, do you really feel like you're stupid? So if it's even a situation where if I need to write down, these are all the reasons why, I'm cool, or this is all the stuff I love about myself, or I'm awesome because, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever. Like whatever I need to do. Sometimes I'll brain dump. You know what I'm saying? Like if I really can't get them thoughts to shut off, and they don't always be negative as hell. They don't always be telling me I ain't shit. Sometimes it's just all the shit I gotta do. Or how come I'm a loser because I needed to do 17 things but only got 4 things done. But
Right.
all the other 13 that I missed were as equally as important as the 4 that I got done. Like I'll try to brain just, and I feel like we don't like to say try. But
Yeah.
I feel like in this case, that is a very strong positive word.
Right.
Because there are times when all the fuck we can do is try. Because
Mhm.
there's so many people that can't even get out of the bed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And like now that I know better, you know what I'm saying? I would never judge somebody because they can't get out of the bed, and do certain things. But it's like, man, life looks different every day to everybody. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
How, like, to tie this in with the trust tree? How, because I think it makes a lot of sense why people feel a certain way about doing the trust tree. When they're done, they feel so much better, because I think verbalizing a lot of things, saying that shit out loud and releasing that shit, and then after you're done, you're like, you know what? I'm not so bad as a person. I'm not fucked up. This is what happened to me.
Yeah.
This is what really happened to
It's
me.
so true.
This is what, and this is what I'm dealing with, and this is what I'm going through. And I think that the Trust Tree as a show, and you as a host, I think it's an amazing show, and I think it really shows people when they do sit down, and if they are truly honest with themselves about things, it's like a moment of like of like a light going off in your head, kind of like you just go, oh shit, wow. Number one, can't believe I just said that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Number two, it's like, but damn, I said it and I feel so much better.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or I said it. Now it has me thinking of, where did that come from? Where, why, when I said that particular thing, I cried? Where did that come from? What is hurting me like that I cried in that particular moment? And that's some real self-reflection. You know what I mean? That's some real shit.
Yeah.
And it's, as tough as that show is, it's that easy though too. As tough as this show
Yeah.
is, I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
As tough as it is really that easy. But it doesn't mean that you're fucking healed and you're fucking great. And when you get off the trust tree, you're just gonna live this fabulous fucking life. But if you're a thinking person, which I'd like to believe a lot of people are, everybody is, that when you're done with that, you can go back and reflect on it.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's out there really puts a lens on it, because now you see yourself for what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
And it's easier to target some of those things. It's, oh, I know why now. I understand now.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And like you were saying about the self reflection, like um some people can go to other people for advice and they can work their things out that way. But I think there are a lot of people that can't. Number one, they might be embarrassed about whatever it is that they're going through, and they just, they don't want to, be that exposed to somebody else. Sometimes people don't have the words. If you're just kind of sitting in whatever you're going through and just kind of thinking through it, you might learn that whatever you needed to get through, whatever you had to get through was in you all along. You know, like I think for me, like that was one of the things that I started to do that kind of like helped me get my voice back. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I was listening to it. When you stop listening to it, it kind of goes away because you're focused on other things. You know what I mean? Like you hear a voice that might be telling you negative or silly shit that might not necessarily, get you back on your square. But when you actually start to listen to your voice inside, you know what I'm saying? Like, you'll you'll get it back.
But when do we know that voice is telling us the right shit? Because the mind is a tricky motherfucker.
That's what I mean by like sit like, and I mean this shit literally. Like, don't run from it, because you can sit there, right, and you'll hear just some just what the hell is happening. You know what I'm saying? Let it happen. Let it go, because you also have to realize I'm all right at the end of it. You know what I'm saying? I sat through this ass whooping, because sometimes we have things to say to ourselves that are not necessarily the greatest, because we have done some silly shit. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Sometimes
and like,
you have to eat that shit sandwich.
Yes, and like for like I remember a long time, like I would just kind of start, like, eventually you get to a point where it's like, I know I gotta do this. And then like you might even start, but it's like, no, not today. Fuck that. You know what I'm saying? And then, but like when I finally was like, I ain't scared of this bitch. You know what I'm saying? Let's do it. And like you get better and better at it. And before you know it, all the muck and the noise kind of clears itself out. And then you start to, that's me. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is me. I remember this. You know what I'm saying? This is what I like to do. This is what I stand for. This is the type of shit that I would do. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say you're messing with somebody that was beneath you, and not trying to say, you know what I'm saying, we stuck up and we self-centered, but come on, man. Like, we all got standards, and we deserve what we deserve. So, maybe you were messing with somebody that wasn't speaking life into you, or you know what I'm saying, they were really, really messed up themselves and haven't done any of the work, and maybe don't even intend to do any of the work because they just like being where they are.
Maybe they don't know there's work to be done.
All that.
That part.
Yeah.
A lot of times they don't know that there's work to be done, or they do just enough. They scrape just the top surface, and then say, "Oh well, I'm putting in the work."
Yep.
The crazy thing about self-love and self-worth and security and everything is it's like you can easily diagnose it to yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's the execution that'll fuck you up. It's the actual work that you actually have to do to be better. And then to like piggyback off of what you said about what did you say, like you finding yourself or like
that voice
that no, like when you said like about that's who I really am. You know what I'm saying? You just said it a second ago, but it's like knowing who you really are. Like I say a lot of times back in the day, like my outer didn't match my inner. You know what I'm saying? My inner was cool, didn't want no trouble, didn't want none of it, nothing. I don't want no trouble. I don't want no fucking beef. I don't want none of that shit. My outer, on the other hand, was like, fuck you and everything else you stand for. And that is a struggle because that even right there is a struggle with insecurity, a struggle with self-hate. It's a struggle with loving yourself. It was a fucking huge struggle. And I still, again, I said it earlier, like, that's like, as you call it, the Ice-T vibes, you know what I mean? But it's a real fucking thing. And I think a lot of us struggle with that. Not being like to be mean or rude to people, but when you're struggling with shit, your outer doesn't match your inner. And when you're able to fucking, for lack of better words, crack that shell and poke your head out, and you're like, oh fuck, this is really who I am. This is, and there's nothing to be ashamed about it. Some of us are just happy-go-lucky. Some of us are just happy all the time. Some people are fucking huggers. Some people are this. Some people are that. And especially for men, I think it's a hard thing to really, not a hard thing that we grapple with about. Well, if I do this, this motherfucker might think, he might feel some type of way, or he might think I'm being this or I'm being that. But if that's who you truly are, just be it. People will respect it and really understand it. But that's a struggle within itself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I struggle with that shit on a daily basis. I struggle with self-love and being secure. My outer says I'm the most confident motherfucker in my mind. But I struggle with that. I struggle with, am I doing the right thing? Am I making the right decisions? Am I worth this shit? You know what I'm saying? Like I said about putting together the show, it was real humbling for me to hear motherfuckers just say yes. because
Yeah.
in my mind it was like, okay, I know, but I don't know. But that's just me being insecure. You know what I'm saying? And when motherfuckers was like, fuck yeah, anything, man, you ask it, I got you. And it's just like, it may seem very superficial or very fucking stupid, but that shit meant everything. I literally sat down by myself after that. And like, I didn't cry. I'm not trying to be a tough dude or nothing. I didn't cry, but I was just sitting there in my thoughts, a couple tears went down because I was like, man, that was humbling as fuck.
But don't you think that, like, in outside from, because in a way that's a bit personal but also professional, but like in your personal life, like when you see examples of people reaching for you, so that could be something like your in-laws, when you realize that they fuck with you.
No, look, man, let me tell you what I really, really struggle with that shit is I struggle with why me?
Yeah.
I'm I ain't, you know, like in my brain it's like I ain't shit. Why?
Or if like one of your kids says something
Same thing.
nice to you, or
Same
like,
thing. I don't know how to take it.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know how to I don't know how to receive it.
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know how to receive it. I don't know how to receive it. And I a lot of times I'll sit and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Thanks, man. I appreciate blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, when I'm sitting by myself, I'm like, fuck, I don't, like I worry so much about everybody letting people down that I struggle really bad with that. And it's like, game, telling myself that you are who you say you are. You know what I mean? I'm a good person. I'm this. I'm that. I got it under control. I'm fine. Don't worry about it. I am who I am, and I'm gonna be that regardless of what anybody says. I'm just gonna be me. And I think for me, I think the me that I know that I am is fucking dope. And that's a hard pill to swallow sometimes.
yeah.
And I think that's why giving yourself grace is extremely important. You
And
know.
it's a
Sorry about
learn,
that.
it's something. So everybody talks about unlearning stuff, right? We need to learn how to extend and consume grace. Like, there's no healing without that step, because first, that allows you to forgive yourself for things you need to be forgiven for, and then it's going to help you on your path to moving on. And then also, like, everybody deserves love, peace, and understanding. You know what I'm saying?
But nobody owes you that.
No, I'm not talking. That doesn't have nothing to do with nobody else but you.
Right,
So
right, right.
they said, so our forefathers said life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, right? Fuck that. Because we all know, no. You need to work on yourself and controlling what you can control, which is yourself. So love, peace, and understanding. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like processing love, whether you're giving it or receiving it, we don't do that shit correctly if we're not right with ourselves.
Right.
Because a lot of times I I fucking love the concept of love bombing, right? Because people do this shit and it's real. Because we're terrified that whomever we want is not gonna want us back.
Yeah.
Or whomever we want is gonna be like, okay, listen, I do fuck with you, but I gotta do this real quick. Fuck that. So if we just choke the shit out of them with just the most wonderful parts of us, they'll never want to leave us, because they'll be like, no, man, I need that. So fuck everything over there, because I'm gonna be right here because I want that. But you know how unhealthy that is?
Yeah.
Because you can't keep a person that doesn't want to be kept.
True.
And you can manipulate, you can play games, and you can lie to yourself. But that person is going to leave one way or the other. They might still be with your ass, but you know what I'm saying? They got some shit going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the tentacles are spreading. However, but that's unhealthy as shit to us. So in order for us to learn how to love, we got to work that gray shit out first.
Right.
Because you need to tell yourself the truth. You need to be honest. Like, you know what? I know this person don't want to be kept. You know what I'm saying? And maybe I'm scared because I don't want to go back out there and start all over again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I put too much time and effort and energy into what I got going on over here, but that's okay. because I'm me and I deserve love just like any fucking body else does. So I'm gonna work on this shit and it's gonna come back. It's gonna come back my way. But you gotta be patient. You gotta know that.
Right.
But that is love, right? And then the peace part. You gotta be at peace with yourself. Whatever is in here. If you're not, what's on the outside is gonna be ugly as fuck regardless. Because as soon as somebody, tries to have a conversation with you, or somebody tries to get to know you, or you're around other people that might be a little bit more whole than you are, them cracks start to show.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And like it's the piece is not there because now the insecurities are coming out. You're dialing up the wrong things, trying to be at the same level with those other people. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a whole bunch of shit that just doesn't even need to be done. So work on that. You know what I'm saying? And then understanding is the complete, okay, you know what? This is Nashvino. You know what I'm saying? Flaws and all.
Right.
I accept it. I love it. I work on me every day, trying to be the best version of me I am for me and mine. You know what I'm saying? And if you're going to accept me, then that's what you're going to have to accept.
Right.
And once me and you get on the level to where we're having them kind of conversations, whether it's a romantic relationship or a friendship, whatever you want to call it, and I kind of respect you enough to even process things like that, or I'm confiding in you when I'm feeling that kind of way, like we're able to have those exchanges with each other. You know what I'm saying? And if we're all healing in a real way, we're able to accept those types of things and process those types of things.
Right.
That's still a part of extending and receiving grace. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like them three things are going to get you where you need to be because you're doing it every day. You know what I'm saying? You're figuring it out how to do that shit every day. I just feel like, there's so much stuff that's going on in the world, and like there's a lot of things that we can't escape because we need money to survive. If you got kids, that makes things a little bit grosser. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because there's even more shit you got to deal with because you don't have the luxury to be like, man, fuck that. Sometimes you gotta deal with you gotta walk dogs. You know what I'm saying? But like, it's so much. You know what I'm saying? On the outside, that on the inside, we can't run from that shit no more.
Right.
Because when you do, then now we're doing drugs, we drinking, we're doing all kinds of other shit. You know what I'm saying? That's nobody wants or needs that. Like people need to stop and just fucking sit there and just figure it out. And if you do that shit for like 10 minutes a day, right? So you can start to work up to it. You got to figure it out for yourself.
Right.
Because we could sit here, all three of us could be lying like a motherfucker about everything we saying right now.
Right.
and when we alone in the bathroom, we just crying. It's just a shit show.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But then at the end, it's also there are people that that's what they do. That's the release. Like, cause I don't know. I heard this shit on the cartoon. Somebody said crying lets the sad out. That's the truest shit I ever heard.
Shit.
It does. Because everybody's gonna have a day where your eyes are leaking for whatever reason.
I cry all the fucking time. I can't help myself half the time.
This we know. But it's not bad because we sometimes some people might laugh. You know what I'm saying? And that's what helps you. Some people don't say anything at all. They just kind of just fucking sit there. I had a friend once before. They were having like, it was a lot of shit going on in their life. They were like really, really fucked up, and they didn't have the words. And the person was like, "Can you just sit here with me?" You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And like, that's what the fuck I did. And it was really weird because it was around the time when I think I mentioned this a couple times to y'all before that I had a friend that talked about how, because we were sitting in the car and it was just silence for about 3 songs. So that's about what, 9.5 minutes?
Yeah.
We said, goddamn word. And like, she goes, I really like being around people that I could just sit in silence with and you don't feel no type of way. And I had never even thought about that. And like, I remember thinking to myself, like, damn, I ain't even realized we ain't said nothing in like 3 songs, I was like, yeah, I kind of like that. I like that space. And it was the same friend. And it was like, we weren't, when she was going through what she was going through, we weren't saying anything to each other. We were just there for each other in that way. But the energy was like swirling around, you know what I'm saying? And maybe the energy was doing the work. I don't know. But like, if we listen to ourselves, we can figure out what we need. You know what I'm saying?
That's key. Listening to yourself to figure out what it is you need. That's key. And Shantae DeRace, is that how you say her name?
Yep.
She says, I definitely can relate. I learned not to allow my loyalty to prioritize me, giving my loyalty before one has shown they deserve it and meet the requirements of it. I stand on owning who I am. That's a hell of a statement. Standing on owning who you are. That's a thing that we all need to do. Stand on, owning who you are. Like I'm really literally at that point in my life as far as that is concerned, and owning who I am as a person. Because you know, and you know what I'm talking about. Swag God, as a man, we don't ever get the opportunity to do that, to own who we are, to
No,
be who we truly are, because there's a constant stress, there's a constant thing. There's when we walk outside the house, there's that, then there's kids, then there's police. Not saying that women don't go through the same thing, but
yeah.
and then you come home and there may be disruption in home and then all this other shit and maybe hurting physically
Upstairs,
downstairs.
downstairs,
Yeah, and
you know what
then
I'm saying? Yeah.
all this shit, and then we've been taught to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I don't want to lose this thought. After I say what I got to say, I want to take apart a piece of what, because the screen is over there, that's why I'm pointing. I want to take apart a piece of what she said, so don't take that comment down. But can I say some real shit to him though, for real?
Yeah. I mean, it's frustrating, right?
Right. So what he said, right, about men and like men not really being able to like take the time express themselves, and because y'all are more or less the foundations and the backbones for y'all families, and there's really no space for y'all to be vulnerable in that way, right?
Yeah.
So like I think a big part of me has always been like very protective of you in that way, because I've always been, I felt like for me, like I'm not really the vulnerable type, right? Like this is coming with me with me being older or whatever. So like I felt like if I try to be more vulnerable, like I could do that for the both of us. Like I try to be like your emotional guardian, if that makes sense. But like I noticed like that doesn't really work. Like if you don't have the space to like be you authentically outside of me and you, like that doesn't, like you don't have any room to grow. Like like you're suffocating, if that makes sense, right?
Right.
So like I've always tried to like create like a safe space. You know what I'm saying? So you can like express how you feel no matter how, but also communicate. You know what I'm saying? Like, like learn how to have the tools to say what you feel. Cause I don't know what you mean. I only know what you say. You know what I mean? So I just wanted, like, I've always wanted you to have the space to where you can learn how to do that. Because I know men often don't have anybody even teach them how to do that. Because being with me is a lot in itself, because I require communication. You know what I'm saying? Like
Facts.
yes, like we have to communicate, because if I'm not able to communicate, I will wither and die. Like, that's literally what it feels like inside. Like it feels like I'm being choked at the life source, and it's just at one end and the other end in the middle. I'm just all the parts inside are just dying. So like I know that like being with me, that's taxing, because you can't just shut down and just I don't want to talk about that shit. Who in the fuck are you talking to? You know what I'm saying? Like that's the only response that's coming out of me. So like I've tried to take time to understand that you're a man of few words, and I'm the exact opposite. But in order for you,
Opposites attract.
Right.
but in order for you to meet me where I am, you got to find the words.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I've tried to learn how to like, meet you halfway. You know what I'm saying? Like if you got the energy, if you're giving me energy, like I ain't got it today, then maybe I could just sit there with you and not say shit, but let you know I'm right here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I appreciate the strides that you've made, and you know what I'm saying, our communication is 90,000 times better than it was in the beginning. And I feel like that's what has allowed us to be us for so long, because we have learned to adapt to whatever version we're presenting ourselves with as we grow in life. I think a lot of relationships fucking fail because people are stuck with the person that they first started messing with. They're not allowing each other to grow. They're not respecting that shit either. Like, you bitch, you acting brand new, you changing. You know what I'm saying? What's this? But it's like that's not how life works. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe whatever that was 8 years ago was dumb as hell to me, and I ain't on that no more. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I realized, you know what, I probably was a dumb bitch and I don't need to do that anymore. Let's go do this. You know what I'm saying? And like, you know, you recognize, okay, well, we doing this. Okay, so how do we do this? I don't know what the fuck we're doing. Can you help me figure this out? What's going on with this? But not even in a hostile way. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. What's up? And I appreciate that because again, I know that the amount of communication I require is a lot for you. You know what I'm saying? And you definitely.
You know, I read something that said about like men and women in relationships, right? Like women look for the security and the safety of a man, not so much the emotional part, but the safety, the protection, the guardianship, if you will. Men, on the other hand, look for the bosom of their mother. So the woman looks for the bosom of her father, the protection, the safety, the security, and the man looks for the. Now, I wouldn't say so much like the emotional shit, but just the safe place. Because a young boy in his mother's arms is like the safest place in the fucking world.
Yeah, that comfort. Yeah, security in that way.
Right.
Yeah.
And the little girl knows that when her daddy hugs her, that is the safest place in the fucking world. His daddy's not gonna let nobody do nothing. Mommy's never gonna let anybody or do anything to her. Not saying that it's because it is a different role being played with a daughter and mother as opposed to a son and mother. It's a different roles, and I think as men, we we still. I mean, part of that just gets taken into real life. You know what I mean? And it takes a certain kind of woman to understand that. It takes a certain because even if you say you're the one who talks the most and needs to express that. I know that I am. I know I haven't been very lucky in finding that from someone, but I also am the person who needs to, I'm finding out now. You know what I mean? I need that comfort and that emotional guardianship. You know what I'm saying? Because that's my safe place. Because outside every day I'm battling. Outside every day I'm fighting. And I shouldn't have to fight you.
But did it take you a while to come to the place where you realize that this is what you require? Like,
Yes.
has it been like through your healing?
Yes.
Yeah. Then that's the whole thing that I'm saying. Like, as adults and especially people in relationships, I think people get hung up on who they were when they started.
Right.
But like that's insane because we're growing, we're changing it. Like we've been together for hell, I don't a long time. And like when when we first got together, like I was literally in a completely different place in my life. I required different things because of where I was.
Yeah.
There isn't not one single part of me that is there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know who that is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like if he's still trying to provide what she needed,
it ain't gonna work.
Then he ain't fucking with me because I don't need that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like that's my whole thing. Like I'm not saying that like you be an asshole to each other. You know what I'm saying? Or you be brand new. I'm just saying that in relationships we really have to be in tune with our partners. We really have to.
Do. And the thing is, like, it's a little saying that I came up with is that you can't hold the past hostage and then try and kidnap the future. You can't do it. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
You
I'm loving that.
Yeah. The past is what it is. You can't hold that hostage. You gotta let it go. Who you ever know or any situation where the hostage stays hostage forever?
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen. It can't happen. It won't happen.
Yeah.
And then trying to kidnap the future is like you can't just reach up and just say tomorrow this is gonna happen. You can't do none of that shit. So you can't try to and this even goes into self-love.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I personally I cannot try and kidnap the future. I can't. I can only be in the moment and I can only know what I do moment by fucking moment and then be aware of that. I can't worry about the future. And I sure in the fuck can't live in the past because that motherfucker don't exist. He exists.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And especially as a man, we do have that kind of animal instinct in us. There isn't a man alive that doesn't. that where you still have that, keep it up. You're gonna get what you're asking for. You know what I'm saying? But that's the other struggle. You know what I mean? Because then, like, even if, like, for instance, if he makes a decision not to do something when he felt like he should have done it, he is going to destroy himself thinking about it.
Yeah.
Which goes to the first thing that I said, which and let me not even lie, I wrote that shit down because y'all know.
I'm just saying, like,
What I
because
say?
could have not.
Feel what you need to feel, then let it go.
Right.
Don't let it eat you up. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
It's but
And
from a
that's
man's
not
perspective,
discounting it. That's not discounting your
right.
feelings.
But from a man's perspective, because of what we've been taught, that's some deep shit. That's some shit that's very hard to fucking try to rewire. You know what I'm saying? Because let's say, for instance, and just speaking hypothetically, you're in the grocery store and somebody says to you, why don't you, to you, he's standing right there, and somebody says, why don't you shut the fuck up? Stupid motherfucking, and then kind of walks off. He may not do nothing because it's not worthy of him doing something, but he may later on go constantly in his head like, I should have smacked the dog.
Yeah.
Shit. And
Now,
that sounds silly.
Yeah.
It
no,
sounds
that's not.
silly.
Yeah.
Because what I'm gonna say, I have had that happen to me, and I confided in you about that because I took the high road in a situation where when I came back and I was in my safe space, literally my own home, that type of stuff. All I could do was sit there and feel like you was a bitch ass nigga.
Well, yeah, but you ain't got that much testosterone. I'm just saying.
You don't need much.
I'm just saying, like, but I'm just speaking from a man's
I can
perspective.
relate though to what you're saying.
I get it.
Because that's what it took me a very long time to get that out off me because all I kept feeling like was I should have beat her ass.
Yeah, but it's deeper. Like for a man, for instance, if he does it and then he starts thinking about it, even for a moment, it's gonna become, oh man, she must think I'm this and I'm that. And you could look him dead in his eye and say, no, I felt safe, or no, I felt whatever. And in his mind, it's still gonna say, nah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I'm telling you, I felt the same way because I felt like someone disrespected my husband in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
I was privy to the treatment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I tasted the flavor of it.
But a lot of times even as men, we don't do shit. Like I told somebody today, is the problem is, and I can't speak for Pierre, but I'm a swipe god. I'm sorry, but I know some of us are willing to go there, and some of us don't give a fuck, and some of us look at the situation like, okay, I know where I'm at right now. I have to look at shit and say, okay, this motherfucker is not worth it because I know where I'm willing to go, and I know goddamn well he ain't willing to go there. I've been locked up. I've been in solitary confinement for months. I know what it is to sit the fuck down. I know what these things are like. I know what being in the bottom of the barrel of society looks like. And with that, man, God give a fuck. But keeping that under wraps, along with other shit, childhood shit,
That shit eat you up.
other shit, relationship shit, outside noise. It is a motherfucker, especially for a man. It is. I'm not taking anything away from women. I'm just saying it's a motherfucker.
Yeah.
And the amount of self-hate, self-destructive behavior, the amount of loathing, the amount of just wallowing in shit, even though on the outside we're like, hey man, what's up, man? But in the inside, a motherfucker is dying. Mm-hmm. But fighting every day to be better. Every day. Okay, I'm going to be better today than I was yesterday.
So let me ask you, and this question is for both of y'all. On a scale of, let's say, let's say 1 to 10, where would you say you are as far as being like content and mentally secure? I don't like happiness. I feel like happiness is fleeting. You know what I'm saying? Let's say contentment and mentally secure.
Wow.
And this is the trust tree, so we don't lie. You know what I'm saying? If it's a 2, then it's a 2. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
What's that scale?
Yeah. So no one in this room is at 10.
Oh no, yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? So that's not what I'm looking for. I'm just saying like realistically speaking. And you know what? To be honest with you, you could be 6 yesterday and today you could be 2. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Tomorrow you could be 9. You know what I mean? Like it just depends on but like I ask myself this question weekly because I personally have a lot going on, and who doesn't, right? But like literally my week looks this like it's my shit's filled up. You know what I'm saying? But in the grand scheme of things, where I am right now is what I prayed for. So what I'm doing is I'm helping myself to maintain what I want. You know what I mean? So like if it's a lot, because one of the areas of things that I'm doing is just it's a lot. You know what I'm saying? But you can't turn off life. And you can't turn off the things that you're doing because that's just another way of quitting, right? So if I say, okay, this week I'm at a 2 because X, Y, and Z, and so then I work toward the next week of trying to make that better, so I don't wind up at the 2 again, at least for that reason. You know what I'm saying? So maybe if y'all start to ask yourself that question more frequently, you can kind of start to tap into answering those questions, because the more we exercise these things, the easier it is for us to be expressive
Muscle
about
memory.
it. You know what I'm saying? And like, you don't always have people to talk to about these things that you're struggling with. Sometimes you are talking to yourself. Now, that could literally, if because some people are not writers. They just don't. I'm not going to sit here and do this. You can talk to yourself. You're you. You're born by yourself. You leaving by yourself. Talk to yourself. You might like yourself. Who knows?
Yeah,
you know what I'm
that's
saying?
like I was saying earlier, like about me. When I get to certain points, I literally have to vocalize it to myself, by myself, or even to somebody. But I ain't even really saying it to them. I'm saying it to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't talk out loud.
Mm-hmm.
It's always inside.
But you're still talking, right? So even if you're not vocal, like it's not actually coming out of your mouth, that what I'm saying is exercise that inner voice. You know what I'm saying? Use it. So Shadow Master says 3,
He's
right?
a 3.
So some people your week ends on Friday, some people your week ends on Sunday. Depends on like how active you are. You figure that out yourself. Whatever the end of your week is, when you kind of like sit and build and say, okay, this is what we're doing next week. Focus on that 3 and say, okay, these are all the reasons why I was at 3. Let's see if I do this different, and maybe I might be a 4 or 5 next week. Whatever you need to do, but like these are some of the things that I ask myself, because like a lot of my life, I just kind of kept things inside because I didn't want to put my stuff off on other people. So I just learned how to like internalize things. But what I realized was, the older I got, the more that just like basically created an anxiety monster inside of me,
Right.
to where I wasn't able to hold it in anymore. The shit started spilling out of me, and I just couldn't even, I just couldn't do anything about it. And then it kind of just made me like a very like just nervous person, to where like things started changing. You know what I'm saying? And like it was a physical manifestation. So like I'm not doing that shit anymore. And I'm cautious though too about whom I express things to in a real way. So obviously it's a public forum. We're here in the trust tree. But like seriously, like
Well, the transference of energy is a real fucking thing, and protecting your energy is a real fucking thing. You know that goes back with. I feel like it goes back with giving yourself grace by protecting your energy. You know what I'm
yes.
saying? Protecting, because really you're protecting yourself. And I want to like first swipe God. You didn't say what number you at.
I would say 4.
4. That's decent.
Yeah, that's pretty
That's
decent.
pretty fucking decent.
Yeah.
Because I say I hover around a 2. But also I feel like it's also perspective, because that 2 for me is a long jump, like from where I was at. that 2 for me might as well be a 9.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's kind of why I prefaced it like that
Yeah.
too, because like one person listening to this might be like, oh damn, he had 2. We need to call the people. But you know, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's like, you know, and then that the Shantae's comment, she said, don't let your loyalty paralyze you.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's just what so like that fits.
I feel like everybody contentment would be a lot higher if they had a lot more money.
No, money ain't gonna bring you shit.
No, temporarily. So I'm giving an example. You're at a 4 today. You all of a sudden you woke up. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it was out there for you. Tomorrow you might be a 7, but the next day your ass might be extra stressed out and you might be a 1. You know what I'm saying? Because
money
who
ain't
knows how
gonna
that
do
day
it.
gonna go? You know what I mean?
Money can't stop the things that are going on up here.
They cannot.
And the things that are here.
Yeah.
They can't stop because, for instance, if you're a real giving person and that's all you do, you can have all the money in the world and you're going to end up with nothing because you're going to give it all away.
Which brings me back to what I was saying about, you know, when you and I first got together, I was one person. And then that, you know, like I had, you know, before, you know, children and all that kind of things, I had all the disposable income I needed. You know what I'm saying? Money wasn't a problem for me, but I was not happy. I was not happy at all. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's all about what you want, because if I want the money, I'll go back, you know what I'm saying? But that shit might last 2 days, you know what I'm saying? Because you know, that's just not the person that I wanted to be, or the feeling that I wanted to have, or the life that I want, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? And like when she said, I def can relate, I learned to not allow my loyalty to paralyze me. So giving my loyalty before, one has shown that, okay, so
One show they deserve it.
let's say for instance, you want to be, so a good example of that would be for people who have watched Power. Ghost tried to tell his wife and family thousands of times he did not want to be a drug dealer anymore. He wanted to be a businessman. Like, that's not who I am. I can't do this anymore. I can't handle it. I don't want it. This is what I want. And nobody listens to him. They kept dismissing him because they didn't want to lose the benefits that they were reaping for all the bullshit that he was going. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's going through hell, but they wearing designer clothes. They living in this great apartment. They got whatever they want. You know what I'm saying? There is no for them. You know what I'm saying? At his expense. Of course, they're sacrificing things too, but it's like, I don't want to be any version of me that is not right for me to please anybody else. And that goes for my husband, my mother, my brother, my sister-in-law, you know what I'm saying, my business partner, my homies, whatever that is. If I'm this version of me right now, if for whatever reason it's not going to work for me tomorrow, and I'm saying I need to change this about myself, or whatever, I'm showing y'all that I'm outgrowing this, you know what I'm saying? I need y'all to grow with me. You know what I'm saying? Now, part of my responsibility in that would be the communication. You know what I'm saying? You know, okay, this is what's going on. But everybody who ain't trying to adapt to the new me, we can't be, because I can't exist in that space. You know what I mean? Like, and then like you were saying about, you know, like the protection of our energy. Like, people say all the time, oh, everybody talking about energy this, energy that. That shit's so cliche. No, the fuck it's not.
Right.
Because when you go inside of a room of people that you know don't like you, it feels very different when you go in a room with your mom and your toddler. You know what I'm saying? When you go in a room at a corporate office, a place that when you pull in the driveway, your whole soul leaks out through your ear. That's how much you don't want to go there.
Right.
That shit feels very different when you walk in Thanksgiving dinner, you know what I'm saying, and you see your grandma two-stepping to fucking a Rich Homie Quan song. That shit is funny as hell. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, these things are real. The what you feel on all of this up in here, when you get the tinglies and your hair stand up and the spidey senses and all that kind of shit, that's all real. That's all energy. And like, if you don't protect that, there's energy suckers out here and they will fucking suck your shit up. Like, people have friends that they have been cool with for years, right? And like, when you get with this friend and you be like, oh man, I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm doing this, and they just kind of they like scrunch up, like, how dare you be happy and have some positive shit going on in your life? You know what I'm saying? And maybe it's because they just want to monopolize the conversation with the good things that they got going on. Or maybe their life is shit and they are not willing to accept that yours isn't. And it's probably a lot of things that is going on with them that they don't have the words to express. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why my life is terrible and I can't get out of this funk. And I don't want to hear about you being happy as hell and how you figured it out, how you got your life together. And no, I don't want you to help me. How dare you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, how dare you help me?
And they don't know how to say that, so it just comes out like a big ass bowl of hate.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people just generally want to watch the world burn and they just don't want to hear about nothing positive. But you have to be the one to say, okay, I'm removing myself from this situation.
Yeah.
Because it's very unhealthy for me.
Do you trust you?
I do now, and I didn't before. I've had a whole bunch of situations in my lifetime where the universe and my universe was Jackie Chan kicking my ass trying to tell me, hey, bitch, look alive. And I just didn't want to believe it. You know what I'm saying? I was in a relationship for a while, and I would constantly have this dream that the person had a twin. They were switching on me. Constantly had the same goddamn dream. Constantly. And I never paid attention to it. I just, whatever, you know?
Tell me he had a twin.
No, but it was a whole cheater, had a whole nother life going on.
Oh, so that is basically
you know what I'm saying? But it's like, things happen in different ways. Everybody's not gonna be so obvious. You know what I'm saying? But like if you don't trust yourself, then that's something else you need to take apart. Why? You know what I'm saying? Why don't you trust yourself? You don't trust yourself because you constantly make bad decisions, you constantly make bad mistakes, and you're not in a position where you can stop and fix that and transform that. That could be a thing. You know what I mean? But you being you is the only thing you can control. So if you don't trust you, that is a giant red flag.
Swipe God, you trust you?
Oh, I trust me most definitely now. But back in the day, hell no.
That's a tough one, like, especially like when you look at it.
I made so many bad decisions,
Yeah.
But like now, I think a lot. I think things through.
What do you think it was that helped you get to that, like trusting yourself?
Just living.
Nah, it's more to it than that. I mean, I'm not trying to pry, but it's just like I know that there's more to it than that because I struggled with the same thing. I struggled with not trusting myself. I struggled with, okay, well, one of the biggest things I struggled with, if somebody did something to me, I would go into a real fuck it mode then, well, all right, whatever. And I didn't trust myself from like that type shit to walk out the front door, but I would do it anyways. I walk out the front door, and in my mind, the walk was fuck it. Whatever's going to happen, I don't give a fuck. And that's crazy to not trust yourself in that regard. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy to be like, I don't trust my own actions. I don't trust my behavior. I don't trust none of that. But then still say, fuck it. It is what it is.
When you were in that phase of your life, was there somebody that you would confide in, or somebody that knew you to the extent where
no, and even then, I think I was so guarded on what I said, even though people said to me, "Oh, yeah, getting you to shut up about how you feel," but never really truly spoke about how I felt. Because if I truly spoke about how I felt, I think it would have scared the shit out of some motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Like on some real shit. And I'm not saying I'm a tough guy or no, like I walk around like that or anything, but the mind is a motherfucker. You know what I mean? And one of the things that I've learned is that you can talk yourself into doing any goddamn thing. I can talk myself into walking through this wall if I fucking really want to. You know what I mean? I can talk myself into going down the street. And, I had a moment one time at a zoo, and I was so frustrated and I wanted to get the fuck away that the only thought in my mind was to punch the nearest motherfucker and wait for the fucking police and then go crazy on their ass just so I could get arrested, just so I can get the fuck away.
That is not wanting to be there in
That's
real
not
life.
wanting to be there, but then I had to really take that and figure out what the fuck was that? And why would I think that? Because my brain went to, fuck it, I don't give a fuck. And it really was just one thing that was said to me that triggered and just said to me again, you ain't worth shit. you're not valuable enough to me. You know what I mean? And that said to me that I wasn't shit and I ain't shit. And so why should I even fucking be here? Doesn't mean walk away, be here. It means like I need to be gone. Like just be gone. And whatever happens when I do this thing, it's whatever. I don't give a fuck. And that's a scary thing, you know, to even deal with on a daily basis. And I know it happens to a lot of people on a daily basis, the thought of and everything. And so like
I learned not to put myself in situations like that, you know, where I gotta, you know, think or do some shit that I know I'm not supposed to be doing or possibilities of shit that can happen.
mhm.
I think that's yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
tough.
yeah.
It's tough as fuck. It's tough as fuck to be even look at a motherfucker sometimes and just be like, all right, I'm gonna be cool.
Right.
I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm just gonna roll with the punches, man. It ain't shit.
And the way my mind works, I think of all the possibilities. You know, I think of a lot of possibilities. I talk
All
to
the
her
time.
all the time. Like
If I
if
do
I go
this,
here,
this is gonna happen.
right? What if this happened? What can I do? Is it a safe? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
All type of shit.
Shit.
Yeah.
What's my escape route?
Yep.
I'm like, all that shit.
Yeah.
All that shit. And it's some fucked up things to be coping with and dealing with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And especially on top of that. Because when again, like the zoo thing, when I really sat down and thought about that, I thought about my mother and I thought about just people when I was growing up and telling me I wasn't shit and telling me I was stupid and telling me all the time that I literally wasn't worthy of being loved or anything. So when you grow up with that shit, it's like, okay, well, if that's what it is, then I'm gonna show you how smart I am. I'm gonna do this and do that. But at the same time, you're still hating yourself like a motherfucker. You're still hating everything and you still hate yourself more than anything because now you're questioning everything you're doing, even if you're successful at it. Then you just have destructive fucking behavior. Like I would when like the first time I got signed, I did it because I literally did it because my mother said a bunch of bullshit to me, and I was like, okay, well then fuck, I'm gonna show that I can do this shit, and I did it, and then once I did it, my mind said, okay, fuck it all up now. I didn't like outright say that, but that's what my behaviors did. I was self destructive, so and the thought was, well, nobody. When I got dropped from the label, it was like, well, nobody can say I didn't do it because I did it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Nobody can say I ain't smart enough to do it because I fucking did it.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times I think sometimes as men we go around and do that kind of shit, which is really self-destructive, which is really fucked up because we still as men we struggle with a lot of self-doubt, self-hate, uh insecurity that is just overbearing, and especially when we live in this whole social media bullshit. It is overbearing for a man. It is like, and not taking anything away from women because I'm sure it is, but it's different. It's from a different lens. It's from a man's perspective, I think, and it's a it's a struggle, and to tell yourself, like I said, you know, I tell myself you're a good dude. I verbally say that shit to myself to where I can understand it. Me personally, you know, other people do it a different way or whatever. They write it down, they talk to themselves, whatever. But I have to say it out loud because I have to constantly remind myself of who I am and what I've become from the person before, because this person that I am today, although I'm not all the way there as I see myself getting to, but this person today is the person that I always wanted to actually be.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
This person always was inside. That was the biggest struggle and the biggest fight of my life was to be the person that I really truly am. I love people. I love doing things for people, and not in the way that we talked about earlier. I don't want anything in return. I really love to see people flourish. I really love to flourish in that
Yeah.
and be happy in that. You know what I'm saying?
So now is the key.
I talk too much.
So now in you know, because both of you are talking about how you feel like you're in way better places now. Now, would you say the key is maintaining and growing?
100
Yes.
fucking percent.
Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, if I'm being honest, I am 1,000 times tougher than I was when I wasn't.
Yeah.
I'm 1,000 times stronger physically and mentally than I was when I wasn't.
Yeah.
And a lot of that doesn't really kind of make sense because if you're the outer is all this tough shit and all this other shit and everything else, but the strength really lies within.
Yes.
The strength really lies within.
Good
So
for
like
you.
now when I walk into a room, I know who I am.
Yeah, because like, and obviously I can't speak from a man's perspective,
Right.
but from a woman's perspective, I don't like insecure men. I feel like they're very dangerous, and like in a lot of different ways.
Right.
You know, depending on what the intention is, depends on kind of like how it comes off. Because if you have a female that's got a lot of insecurities, and then there's an insecure man, there's if there could be a lot of manipulation where he can take out the ugliness and the insecurities and just kind of plant terrible seeds in and around her. You know what I mean? So like I can't and have hanging out with a lot of guys most of my life, I can definitely recognize that it's some shit that I just really don't like. So like like if I'm in a room with a bunch of men, like I can tell the ones that are really struggling with some shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's just not a fun environment to be in. You know what I mean? Because it's volatile. You don't know what the fuck's gonna happen with those type of people. But we were talking about peace, right? So when you have situations where you recognize, okay, that's how I was before. I worked so hard, and this is where I am now. This is the me that I am, and I wanna stay this way because I like me, and I can see the work that I've done. You know what I'm saying? I'm a walking trophy. You know what I mean? I hold my head up high, all that great stuff, but also people around me that I love and respect can see the growth in me. Right. People are giving me compliments. People are saying things like, "Oh man, I love the stuff that you're doing," or you know what I'm saying, I love this or that.
That's where the real fight is after the lights are turned off. That's where the real fight is.
Yes. And like I saw this thing online today and I saved it. And it was it's called The Pleasant Mind that put this out there. It's called Things I Stopped Doing to Gain Peace in My Life. So arguing with people, wasting energy on one-sided relationships. Recently, and for each one of these things, if strike something out of you, you want to say something, feel free. But wasting energy on one-sided relationships. Recently, I got a message from somebody that I haven't talked to for months, right? And we were like really cool back in the day. That relationship does not exist anymore, right? We're adults. But every time this person reaches out to me, they ask me for money. And like, there's only a few people on this planet that I will ask money from. You know what I'm saying? Him, my brother, my mother, your wife, his sister. You know what I'm saying? I'm not asking nobody else for money. The words aren't going to come out of my mouth. I'll sit there and try, and it could be bad. Like I'm about to get evicted tomorrow. I just don't have the words or the tools to talk to anybody else outside of that group of people that I just named. I just can't do it. You know what I'm saying? And when I saw this fucking text message, it just made me I don't even know like the shit that it made me feel. I just didn't like it because I just kind of felt like, what the fuck, what are we saying here? You know what I'm saying? Like, and then the type of person that I am now, I'm no longer able to have disingenuous relationships. So if I know I don't like you, that's all I got for you. You know what I'm saying? Either I'm going to stay away from you, or if it's a situation where I have to be around you for whatever reason, that's all the energy I'm giving. You know what I'm saying? I want you to know that you shouldn't come over here and speak to me. You shouldn't come over here and try to shake my hand. You shouldn't come over here and try to share space with me. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not what this shit is all about. For some reason, we have to occupy the same space, and that don't go no further than that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's who I am now, because I don't have no energy to give to a motherfucker who is not giving me what I deserve.
Receptive.
There's no reciprocity in this shit at all. So like when I got that message, I was just like, the violence, you know, because I'm just
Right.
like, what the are you fucking serious? Like, this is crazy. And I know if I reached out to you, I'm not gonna get that. You might not even respond. And like mad other times, I got to reach out. And every single time, I was like, yeah, I got you. Because I just kept thinking to myself, like, man, if I was fucked up or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I would want somebody to reach for me. But like, no. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't that. You know what I'm saying? I said all that to say, like, one-sided relationships are disgusting.
Yeah.
They're very disgusting because they cause us to second guess ourselves. We be like giving like our whole authentic self to somebody and they just ain't doing it. And then we constantly say, well, what did I do? How come I don't deserve for you to be, you know what I'm saying, a friend to me like I am to you? You know what I'm saying? And we're taking time, space, and energy away from the end goal.
Right.
Trying to tread water. No, fuck all that. Trying to fix people as an act of love.
That's an impossibility.
Yes, but people still bump their heads trying to do it, you know? Pretending to be happy when I was hurting. This shit right here, I probably should get a tattoo across my fucking forehead because
that's a big one.
I spent so many years of my life with this. Like I make fun of myself. I was like, I wore a Halloween mask for a long motherfucking time. You know what I'm saying? And then like I went on a vacation with my mom, and I don't know what happened. Maybe it was a change of climate, but I just couldn't, like, that shit didn't fit no more. You know what I'm saying? I just completely lost my shit. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, yeah, I can't, like, this is bullshit. Like, I can't do this shit no more. You know what I'm saying? Like,
growth is kind of like
a rash.
like a no, it's like a plant being in a too small of a pot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the pot being your surroundings.
But it's really, really bad when you're the one that keeps trying on smaller pots.
Yeah. Well, just speaking from myself and my own experience, like the adjustment is difficult for people. The adjustment is extremely difficult for people, and I personally thought it was going to be easy. Like, oh, they'll see who I am. They'll understand who I am. They'll understand that this has always been me. This is always, maybe they may have gotten glimmers and glimpses of it before, but it was never enough to sustain anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like, in my own growth and seeing people around me, and that's tough too when I'm still struggling with security and loving myself. And I'm not necessarily struggling with it, but I'll fuck it. Yeah, struggling because it's a constant fix. It's a constant build. It's a constant thing. You know what I mean? Because one moment I figure out, all right, I can love myself for this thing about me. There's like 80,000 other things that are waiting in line. Like, okay, my turn next. You try and love me, motherfucker. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Try and love this. You know what I'm saying? So it's difficult, and it's difficult as fuck when you're around people and all they still see, no matter what you do, is that shit.
Well,
and that listen, and I've learned to understand that because I'm not in charge of what another person does, thinks, or behaves. I'm not in charge of that shit.
Yeah.
I'm only in charge of my own behavior, my own thoughts. And I'm not even in charge of their happiness. I'm not in charge of anybody's happiness but my own. What I can give is be responsible and honestly, like, this is a real thing. The only thing you can do is be responsible for yourself and your actions towards that person.
True. But also, because we're go back to grace and space and things of that nature. There are a lot of circumstances where the relationships that we have with people are very complex. They're very complicated, right? And like, I know for me, I've had one or two friendships where I fumbled the relationship, right? Because I had my own shit that I wanted to do, and I just I just was like, fuck it. I'm just gonna take the easy way out, or I'm not gonna fuck with you because I'm gonna fuck with this person because I got more to gain from them. Whatever the case may be, right? I fumbled that relationship. But then when I decided, well, I shouldn't even say decided. When I kind of sat in there and realized, okay, you know what? This is fucked up and I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? You can't control the other person's forgiveness. And what I've always struggled with was I'm working on me. I realized I was wrong. I apologize. I even said I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? And look, I changed. I stopped doing all that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I ain't gossiping no more. I'm not talking about you behind your back or whatever the fuck it was that I was doing. I'm the new version of me. Come on, come over here. You know what I'm saying? Let's kick it. Let's chill. Let's do this. But they not really fucking with me because I burned them. You know what I'm saying? I hurt them. And for what them scars is real and they are trying to figure out, number one, do they even want to fuck with me like that? Can they come back from that? Or can I really believe you? I understand what you're saying. I even see that I saw you having dinner with people and you wasn't talking about motherfuckers. You wasn't doing some of the things, you know what I'm saying, that pissed me off about you before. You know what I'm saying? Hypothetically speaking, I'm trying to come up with fucking examples. But like, what I learned was that no matter how big or how small it is, if you hurt somebody's feelings or you hurt a person in general, their forgiveness has absolutely nothing to do with you. It's not your fucking business. You know what I'm saying? They gonna do it on their time. And they gonna do it how they do it. The only thing, like you said, that you're responsible for is what you do, your actions and such. And you can try to keep open the lines of communication. You can keep trying to do that, but like at some point it kind of becomes suffocating, and then that's when you have to give the space. Then fuck it, shut it off.
But I mean,
I mean, you should give it. You should keep the lines of communication, apologize, and actually mean an apology, and keep the lines of communication open. And if they don't respond, you did
Because
your
you
part.
can't, because like what winds up happening is that's when resentment starts. You know what I'm saying? Like, because then it comes to anger. Like, I did this, god damn it, and you know what I'm saying. You don't even give a fuck, but it's like, I mean, so what? You know what I'm saying? Like you just can't
but
make
life is a little bit more complicated than that.
It definitely
it's a bit
is
more complicated.
And that was really like a conceptual type, because I'm trying to come up, but I'm just saying, like, the point of what I was saying was no one can control another person's forgiveness. No matter how that looks, no matter how big or small the scenario. Like, that is just literally none of your business. You know what I'm saying? Because you can literally be like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna expose the fuck out of myself so you can see I'm serious. You asshole naked in the United Center. They might still not give a fuck. You can't control that.
Right. But the one of the toughest things, I think, like, and this is like really from my own perspective and like from a man's perspective, is walking in that type of confidence is hard. It's hard every day. Like, to be like, I was talking to somebody today, understanding where I am right now is a big one. Understanding where I am and understanding the mistakes, even verbally, that I make to a person, or physically. I don't fuck with the physical shit. You know what I mean? Like, as far as like being violent shit, doesn't mean I'm passive. It just means I'm just not. That's not where I'm gonna. That's not where I'm gonna use my energy as far as that's concerned. But walking in who I am every day is beautiful as it is. It's a struggle like a motherfucker too. On top of that,
yes,
you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
But I recognize these things, and I do. Like, if I make a mistake with somebody, I immediately apologize, because I understand, and I don't make those. It's not lip service. You know what I'm saying? I say, hey, I'm sorry if you feel that way, or I didn't mean to say that like that, or because I have a bad habit of talking without a filter. And even getting my filter under control is a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Because I'll fuck around and say something, but my old me was like, if I said it, what?
Yeah.
What we doing?
Take it how you want to take it.
Yeah, take that shit how you want to take it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, let's go then. You know what I mean? Like, but understanding when I say things, and understanding, like, that shouldn't come out that way. You know what I mean? And having the enough gumption, if you will, like having enough understanding of yourself, and having enough confidence in yourself, and holding yourself accountable and even loving yourself slightly enough to say, hey, I apologize for that. That was fucked up. That was wrong. I'll do better. I will do better. I will make a conscious decision. That's the thing, is that being conscious about our decisions that we make, you know what I'm saying? Being conscious about the things that we say to people, being conscious about how we treat people, being conscious about how we behave around people.
Yes.
And
And with that being said, when you're doing everything that you can to atone to things you've done in the past, right? And you're working on being this new, better version of yourself for you. When the other person starts to do fuck shit or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Then now that's on them.
yeah.
And then you have to then make the decision, okay, am I gonna fucking stay here or am I gonna fucking go? This is just not a safe space for me anymore.
And unfortunately, life is way more complicated than that. Not
Yes,
making excuses for anything
but
like
no,
that,
I get
but
it.
it's just
But like that's the space that we're operating in, which is
Right.
why I'm super fucking serious about time, space, grace, and patience, because we are human. We're just big
Yeah.
ass bags of flesh and
Mhm.
nerves. You know what I'm saying? And we're us.
Yeah.
And we're just very imperfect. And everybody is the same thing, but a different outfit, if you will. And we all are gonna make mistakes all the motherfucking time.
All the time.
And we just gotta coexist with each other and just kind of do our best to just occupy all this space together. You know what I'm saying? And like, I am no longer willing to beat myself up because I'm trying to be Nasha, but nobody else has time to let me be me.
You know what I'm learning about myself is that I'm learning to be okay with being imperfect and not being perfect.
I love it.
You know what I'm saying? And giving myself some grace and understanding that I'm there. To try to reach a goal of being perfect is fucking insane.
Yes.
So I'm imperfectly fine with not being perfect.
Yes. And I also
Perfectly fine without, you know what I'm saying?
Perfectly imperfect.
Yeah, perfectly imperfect. Yeah.
And I feel like, and I'm pretty sure you both feel the same way. Like, I am grateful for every mistake. You know what I'm saying? I'm grateful for every misstep, because that allowed me to, give myself a reason to kind of slow down and just kind of start thinking about shit, figuring things out or whatever. Because without that, I couldn't be this version of me. And I feel like this is the version that's serving me and everybody in my orbit. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And like, if I wasn't this version of me, or no, because first I would have to have been in a relationship with you to be here. You know what I'm saying?
But that's what I say to people. I don't mean to cut you off. I say to people all the time, and even to myself, I had to go through every fucking thing to get right here, right now.
Yeah.
I had to. There was no way around it. I had to struggle with things. I had to struggle with alcohol. I had to struggle with uh, infidelity. I had to struggle with a whole lot of shit, and I still struggle with things. Nothing chemical or anything like that, but just mental things. You know what I mean? But I had to get there. I had to have all of those things in order for me to get here and understand what that means to me now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And what it means to be me now, being a better person and loving the people around me, and understanding what my energy is to other people.
Yeah.
Because that's a big one too. Because it took me a long time to understand that my energy can shift the fucking room.
Yeah.
Some of us have bigger energies than others, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, blah blah blah,
No, it's true.
whatever.
It's true.
Some of us have bigger energies, and even to recognize that is a tough one. Like, oh fuck, I'm the reason that all this shit is. My energy is the reason that this is all happening. Oh fuck, just like when I said being humbled about that shit. Sometimes when we walk into certain places and I see people and oh blah 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 blah, I am very protective of my energy, but I also understand and know that my energy also dictates a lot of shit around a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so I have to be very careful in it. And it sounds corny as fuck, but I have to be very careful and very mindful of my fucking energy.
And your intention as well.
And my attention as well, yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like other people's intentions can pervert our energy a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, and like you also have to be you know, protective of that as well. Because like, you know, safe spaces are created by energies, you know, that have been, you know, in great hands. You know what I'm saying? Like if I know, you know what I'm saying, and we talk about this all the time. We all have something to give, right?
Right.
And I feel like, you know, we're put here on this planet to use each other.
Right.
But it's the intention that kind of changes that,
The
you know.
intent.
So when we're, you know, you're in a room with a bunch of creatives and you're working on something or not, you're just sitting there, you're existing. But somebody comes in that you know is a piece of shit that changes everybody's energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, you know, we have to we just have to be protective and being honest and being very intentional in our communication as well. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes, you know, people have this thing where like someone has maybe they fumbled some sort of exchange that you've had, right? So you have no use for that person because as far as you're concerned, there's nothing positive coming out of them. That doesn't necessarily mean your exchange with that person is going to be the same.
Right.
So like in a younger version of me, I'm all over that. Oh no, don't focus so and so because woo woo woo. But that's not how the world works.
Right.
People always have to figure things out for themselves because it can come off because however they're reading the intention might be one way. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole thing. So kind of got to mind your business. You know what I'm saying?
No, you can say things. Just say because I do it all the time. If I don't like something, I'll say, but you know, I don't have like I don't hate that person. You know
right. But see, we're on the level though.
But
even if you did,
I just know how to do. I know how to like them and love them from here.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
But do you understand what I'm saying about certain people? Certain people will receive you saying that as you hate because
because I make that clear too. I don't hate that person. I don't dislike that person.
I ain't doing that shit. Like to y'all, that's different because we on that level and y'all know where I'm coming from. You know what I'm saying? But like I've had experiences that ain't some shit I do anymore.
Well, I mean, you know, I whenever I struggle with shit, I just have to look at the old. I look in the rearview mirror at the old me and be like,
oh, next point. Overthinking about my past and things I cannot change.
Right. No, what I'm talking about for motivation.
Yeah, no, yeah. But still, this right here, a lot of people are like shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of very older people that are literally. It kind of feels like they're stuck in like 1972. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like that is horrible to me because like sometimes like I'll have a day where I'll be like, man, if I wouldn't have fucked that up, and I won't even allow myself to finish that thought anymore because who gives there's no way you're gonna be able to go back and fix whatever that shit just doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying? And the energy we only have so much. Let's not even go there.
That's why I always say like I was able to be successful with this much motherfucking focus. And imagine what, and I tell myself this: imagine what you do when you're focused. And so that is my thought always. Like, okay, well then focus on that. Focus, and I don't dwell on coulda, woulda, shoulda. I dwell on what am I doing right now? What am I doing right now? What am I doing right now? And if anything that is going to block that, it needs to get the fuck out the way.
Yes. What do you guys think?
Or get walked on.
Accepting
walked over.
Accepting toxic behavior because that was more comfortable than change.
Fuck that. Fuck that. I'm just keep it 1,000. I'll keep it a buck. Fuck that. But I'm a communicator. And so something like that, it drives me to not shut the fuck up until there's resolution.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because nothing can happen without resolution, regardless. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But even if a person's done me wrong or I've done them wrong, I need resolution. I do.
Yeah.
So I can take my next step. You know what I'm saying?
And what part of resolution is that closure?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's either yes or no.
Right.
No. Well, no. Yeah. I get that. What do you think about going along to get along?
No, fuck all that.
I think a lot of our grandparents kind of Yeah, with the separate bedrooms and all the other shit that
Going along to get along like that. Man, if life was so simple, if it wasn't so complicated,
Yeah.
you know. But I mean, even looking at it from a friendship standpoint, from a romantic standpoint, a friendship standpoint, I mean, they're like one and the same, I think. And going along to get along, I mean, depends on what lens you're looking at it from. For some people, it may be the saving grace. For other people, it may be the walk of fucking hell.
Yeah. I think for all of these is more or less like, what does it mean to you?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, at what point are you in? Because it's helping. It's trying to help you find peace, but it's like, is that the problem? Like, do you not have peace? What if maybe one of these things is it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because going along to get along is not necessarily an absolutely terrible thing, because it worked for almost all of our grandparents.
Well, here's the other thing. It also works if you do go into it with understanding. If you go into it with
Yeah.
understanding, and you go into it with accountability for your actions and what you do, how you do it, things that you say. Yeah, I mean, I can go along with the get along. You know what I'm saying? Just don't cross me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just don't fuck that over.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the outcome of that may not look so good.
Waiting for external validation to boost my confidence.
Had a conversation about that with someone today about validation and then how we look for validation in other people. And that could stem from childhood shit and constantly not being heard and things like that. But you've got to find the validation within yourself.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You've got to find, and that's one of the things that I've been learning and still learning about my own validation. And so, like, with everyone saying, yeah, eat anything you want, it took a moment to take that all in, and it was really humbling. And I'm like, you know what? I guess I'm that dude, but not in a cocky way. Like, because I literally put the fucking work in. I literally have done this shit and done hours on hours and days and months and years and shit, minutes and I have to give myself credit. I have to step back and say, you know what? They ain't just saying that just to be saying it. You really are good.
Yeah.
You really are smart. You really understand what the fuck you're talking about. You really do know this. And if I validate myself, when I validate myself, me helping someone else to understand what that validation is even better and even easier. You know what I'm saying? If that makes any sense, because if I'm feeling validated, I'm going to give that energy to someone else. I'm going to validate their feelings. I'm going to validate what they do. I'm going to show appreciation. You know, I'm going to show all these things, and then the hopes, or maybe not even the hopes, because I just would do that anyways. But like the universe will tell them, if that makes any sense, that hey, you know what? Fuck. I mean, this guy fucking confident or whatever, or he works hard, he does this, and he's telling me that I am. Maybe I am. I am, and I should fucking live in that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's one of the tougher things about loving yourself, is being able to live in that. Like, you know what? That's why I said about me telling myself, but I literally will sit outside by myself and be like, when these fucking thoughts come in, I literally will say to myself, you're a good fucking person. You know, remember that Saturday Night Live shit where that motherfucker be like looking in the mirror and he's like, you're a good person.
Yeah.
You mean something. But self-validation and self-affirmation is a real fucking thing.
It is, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's big. It's a big thing now, because people need it.
Yes.
Like, people are getting their asses whooped every day.
Their life handed to them in a fucking hell basket.
Yes.
Every goddamn day.
And there's so many people who, like, to the outside, they have the perfect lives because they have a job where they make good money, you know, so all that kind of stuff, you know, and it's just like they're just struggling because they hate it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people are put in position, and maybe they put themselves, who knows, whatever. But like, it's just that they just want to do other things. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the person wants to make Lego models all goddamn day. You know what I'm saying? Like, because another thing too with social media, we are looking at the highlights of people's lives.
They're not even highlights.
And we're thinking
they're
like this is how they live every day.
Believe. They're
right.
not even, you know.
But there are a handful of people that truly really are like living like these crazy, like the dream. You know what I'm saying? Like
but the dream you can only get that dream is if you fucking get up and get off your ass and go get it.
Which was what I was just about to say, but we have the slightest idea what they did to get where they are.
Yeah.
You know, and there's people in that I've had the displeasure of knowing that, you know, they're very envious of other people to a super huge disservice to themselves. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're almost stagnant because all they can do, shouldn't say they are stagnant because all they can do is talk about what so and so has.
Right.
But if that person stopped and said, "Hey, I heard that you trying to be just like me. Well, check it out. Get a pen and a pad," and they just went down the whole lick. You know what I'm saying? This is what I did A to Z to get here. Not only is this motherfucker not gonna get the pen and pad out, but they ain't even if they're gonna pretend like they writing just so you could just, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, what are we doing here?
If
you know
I
what I'm saying?
told you how many times I failed on a daily basis, like, but like to talk about what you were saying, like, to be successful, you have to fail a million fucking times
and be okay with that.
And be okay with it. Like, I was, from a monetary standpoint, way more successful than I am right now, but I feel extremely successful with what I'm doing right now.
Because you love it.
Because I love, well, not just that, because also growing into who I am, who I've always been, but was afraid to be that, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
So, yeah. Well.
And here's this is funny. Trying to change people who were committed to staying the same. Yeah, I'd say I've lost about 2 months of my life, you know, from that. Allowing dysfunctional family members to steal my joy. Now, yeah, this kind of goes back to what Shantae was saying about sacrificing yourself for loyalty. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, people will put up with the most stupid, terrible shit just because. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we always did that. That's just what we do. You know, all right, well, y'all keep sitting around in the circle smoking crack. I'm going to work, you know, or, you know, whatever. And then overlooking my blessings and comparing my life to someone else's. This is very dangerous, you know, even if it's, you know, like siblings comparing themselves, or like if you have a situation where like parents compare their children, you know, and like I've always really tried to like not do that, you know, and I don't want to say try because, you know, trying implies that you're not doing it, and that's no, I don't want to do that because, you know, you can have a situation where the kids are already doing that. You know what I'm saying? Or they, you know, they might feel some type of way about themselves, you know, compared to what their other sibling is doing. And by you doing that, you just kind of validating their insecurities, you know. And then, you know, you wouldn't want somebody to constantly tell you, oh, well, you should be like Johnny because Johnny got this, that, and the who, you know, I don't give a damn. You know what I'm saying? Like, what about me? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to do the best I can every day. You know, like I'm loyal to myself. You know what I'm saying? I do what I can to make people, you know what I'm saying, in my orbit smile. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I just want everybody to be okay. You know what I mean? Like that's what it is for me. And like I don't want to be like anybody else. I really don't. You know what I'm saying?
I've had a couple of experiences of that, and it just made me want to be more of myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean, that's basically how you. I guess that's basically how you handle that. You know, just learn to be more yourself. Just do you. You know.
What do you, this is for both of you. What are you going to do tomorrow to love yourself? more than today? I'll just answer mine. I'll answer me. For me, I need more patience. I'm finding out that I'm a really impatient person
You need more patience with yourself?
with myself.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that me being more patient will allow me to love myself more because it'll give me time to hit the pause button and give me time to reflect and to think about what I'm doing or why I'm getting ready to do something or anything like that.
Hmm.
Let me go, and then you come out. You go after me.
Yeah.
Um, I know tomorrow I have a few things that I need to do. Um, I'm going to. I really hate to copy you, but I'm going to. I'm going to be patient with myself because today I wasn't. I like there was 5 things that I had to do, and I was just like was crazy with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I didn't give myself any space to just like okay decompress. You know what I mean? Like the intensity is real, and eventually your brain's gonna explode. You know, so like tomorrow I'm gonna get done what I need to get done, but I'm also going to take a beat for myself because there's just too much. There's too much noise. You know what I mean? Like, and then I also know that I'm gonna be a little sleep deprived, so that's another element to it as well. So, and I don't know if you guys do this, but like I try to like plan without planning because I literally planned for a long time and I like try to push myself to do it, but it's not working for me anymore. Like certain things, yes. Or like when I know that I've got like let's say I've got to go somewhere and it involves the kids, like I'm that does require a bit of planning to make sure that we kind of goes off without me trying to jump out the window on the 290. You know what I'm saying? So that some stuff you can't really avoid doing it, but like I really try to be in a moment a lot more, and I put forth effort to say yes to my kids. So like for my son who's 10, that means a whole lot to him because the things that he asks for are more or less tedious and time consuming. So like he's not really necessarily saying, "Can you take me to Walmart and buy me toys?" He might want to watch a movie with me or make some cookies or uh just some crazy shit he pulls out of his imagination that takes away from my like time I might just want to lay there and just not do nothing. I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to stare at the TV because it doesn't really require much mental space for me. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm learning that okay, I need this for my peace, but at the same time, he didn't ask to be here. And he needs this and he wants this for me. You know what I'm saying? And I want him to learn um not only, you know what I'm saying, how well, I shouldn't say learn. I want him to feel seen, and I don't want him to feel like he's a burden. You know what I'm saying? Or like he's taking up too much of my space, or he's bothering me. You know what I'm saying? So like, um, I really, 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 really try to just figure out how can I say yes? How can we get to yes? You know what I'm saying? Like if I have to alter it a little bit to give me a little peace, but also do what he needs to do. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Like that's a priority. That's a priority for me. Um, and it also makes me feel better because I'm fulfilling the needs of like one of my kids. So like um, I know like Sundays for me is really like my only day where I can take some time. Anybody ask me to do shit, anybody talk to me, I ain't got to figure this out. I ain't got to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? My biggest job is feeding everybody. You know what I'm saying? So like that's peaceful for me in a way because I'm cooking through issues. Like this, it gives me a lot of mental clarity when I'm cooking. But then also I already know he's gonna want some time from me because we're gone. We're doing all these shows and doing things. We're literally not there. So this day I'm here. What's up? Let's do something. Because the other day
Mhm.
he was even like, well, I know you're tired. We don't even gotta do nothing. I'll just lay here with you.
Have me Italian everything.
Yeah, it really was. And then he'll do this thing where he'll be like, I'm gonna make you something. I'm gonna make you some popcorn. All right, thanks. You know what I'm saying? So I just try to get to yes. You know what I'm saying? So I know already whatever happens through the whole damn week on Sunday, I make myself. Well, if I could steal some time to stare at the wall, I'm gonna do that. But as soon as somebody comes in and say, "Hey, oh shit, all right, let's go,"
Right.
you know what I'm saying? But all the other time, or
And there's
whatever,
nothing wrong with that. You're not
no.
spreading yourself thin. You're not doing it for any ulterior motives or anything like that. So
Yeah, and
stealing
naps.
a little time for yourself.
Naps are
That's giving yourself grace.
yes,
Mhm.
yes. But if I didn't do that for him, I'd have this thing where I kind of be like, oh shit,
Right.
I'm a piece of shit a
What
little bit.
about you, Swipe God?
I really feel like I need to have a little more patience for others and a lot more patience for myself
Mm.
because, recently, I've been noticing myself running out of patience and you know, and that's something I plan on doing tomorrow to
That's
love
what's up.
myself.
This
Yeah.
is man. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to the trust tree.
Looks like patience is the theme of the night, huh?
Yeah, like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Oh, you.
So last week we talked about how if you want to, come on the trust tree, even if you're not in Chicago and you can't make it in person, we can work around that. Reach out to you can DM me on all platforms at the Najvino, but I believe on Instagram is 1E. Just search it, you'll figure it out. Whatever. Um, yeah, just reach out if you want to be on the trust tree. If you guys have questions or something that you want to see or something that you want to talk about or ask me, please reach out. This is a safe space. Try our best to maintain that. Um, we I like doing shows like this because it just kind of gives us the opportunity to give you a peek behind the curtain a little bit, and we can also like talk through things we're going through personally. And I'm pretty sure there's people out there that are dealing with the exact same things that we are, whose life doesn't life. I feel like today we unpacked a lot, but also we talked about movable solutions that people can use in their everyday life. If you have a bad day, you are supposed to take time out to kind of unpack that bad day. If you find yourself leaning on substances to kind of pull your way through things, that may not necessarily be the best thing for you. So we're attempting to give you tools to help you with that. And again, we are not licensed therapists, we're not counselors, we're just people who are healing in real life. So if you have picked up anything that you found usable today, let us know. We definitely want to hear about how people are using these things that we're talking about in real life. I appreciate everybody for their engagement in the comments. You know, jump out y'all bodies and talk to us. We're not scary people. We want to know what's going on. We want to know if it's working. Like if the reason for this show is actually happening. Like, but we won't know that unless you tell us. So please, you are the reason for the season, so to speak. So let us know what's going on. I really hope that everybody has a great rest of the week. Be safe out there. It's crazy out here in the world. Again, this is the end of September. And September is Suicide Prevention Month. So if you are in crisis and you're in need of services, you can call or text 988. You can also chat with the 988 Suicide Crisis Lifeline at 988lifeline.org. If you know someone who seems to be in crisis, you can always intervene on their behalf. There are people there that you can talk to that will talk through whatever situation is, and advise you on what those next steps should be. But don't just sit there and let it happen. You see something, say something. You need help, do what you got to do. You got to be the advocate for yourself. Like you owe that to yourself. I said it in the beginning and I still mean it now. This world is definitely a better place because you're in it. And that's it. Like keep that energy. If you are in Chicago and you are still up and you have the energy to come outside, check out Subterranean, longest running hip hop open mic in the world. Bring your ass down there. Might see us.
Tuesday's therapy.
You never know. Tuesday's therapy. We can continue
That's what they call it.
this same energy in the hip hop form. Yeah. It's really a good time, honestly. And people who are a little bit older than, in their 30s or whatever, you know what I'm saying? You come out, get into something. It's a safe space. All right. Everybody have a great night, great rest of the week. In the words of Avon Barksdale, keep it light, but keep it. Till next week.